Well, it's just about time to put the board into the case because we have our memory installed, our CPU installed, our CPU cooler installed. Anything else that we put in here is going to make it difficult to put it into the case, and all we have left to go is a 16-lane video card and a 1-lane video capture card. But let's examine the connectors on the motherboard because you probably won't get to see me hook them up because it'll be down inside the case. This is your main power connector. It has 24 pins. This board will accept a 20-pin connector, leaving these 4 open. Okay, but without the 24-pin connector, the power supply won't be able to sense whether this 12-volt supply marked ATX CPU, Central Processing Unit, sounds rather important. They won't be able to tell if this has been plugged in or not. And what happens is, if you got a 20-pin plug in here and you don't have this connected, everything fires up and it looks like it's working, but some of the I/O chips for the processor chip don't work and you don't get video. So that can make you panic, I'm sure. So go ahead and get yourself a 24-pin plug for this. It's keyed, you can't put it in wrong. Now, we have 2 headers on the board, one marked LPC debug and the other one marked RJ135. Those are for the motherboard manufacturer. They're not mentioned in the documentation. We got one marked intruder. If you close those 2 pins together, it tells the PC that somebody's intruding in the case. You put an alarm switch on the case. I don't know what it does in that case. I haven't looked into it. Here are all of your serial ATA hard drive connectors. The blue ones will do up to 6 megs of transfer per second. These will do up to 3, and this is an eSATA connector, which we're going to be hooking to the front panel to give us an extra place to plug in an eSATA outboard drive, an external drive. Here's a front fan header. Here's a rear fan header. We've already got the CPU plugged into its header. These are 4-pin headers, so they're going to be controlled off the board to determine the speed of the fan. Here we have an FP1394A. This is an IEEE 1394 header. That's known as FireWire. We're going to be plugging into that, so we have an extra FireWire port on the front of the case. This is the audio jack. We'll have to talk about that a little more because I'm a little confused. It can either do HD audio or AC97 audio. The only difference I can see is the way it biases the microphone jack, but I don't know. This is a raw SPDIF digital audio header. Unfortunately, we're not going to be using that. It's only an output, but if you hook it to a RCA jack that you've installed in the case, you can give yourself coaxial digital audio out right there, SPDIF. Here are 4 auxiliary USB port headers, 1, 2, 3, and 4. They'll each do 2 USB ports for an extra 8 USB ports. We will be installing an additional 6 out of 8 on the front panel. And here are all little front panel indicators and whatnot. You'll find that this board is typical in that it gives you an extra power LED header in case you need that. And that's about it, except for the exotic CIRTX and receive jacks. We'll be using the CIR receive. That, I believe, the C is for consumer and the IR is for infrared. And this motherboard will be hooked up to a receiver for infrared from an infrared remote control. Okay, that being said, it's about time to put this bad boy in the case.